Hello, nerds, and welcome. We are Crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you yet another episode. My name is Travis. I am joined, as always, by my fantastic co hosts, Eric, Ryan, and Clark. This week, we continue our anime adventures talking about the studios and the movies that they make and/or shows. What we like, what we don't like, if there's any anime studios that any of us just particularly dislike. I have a feeling that list is going to be incredibly short. But I digress. Couple of quick announcements. It's Royal Rumble weekend. That's right. I will be giving a quick rundown with Eric once the Royal Rumble is complete, letting you know who won, who came out on top of all the matches. We've got a pretty high stakes fatal four way, of course, the men and women's Royal Rumble. So, yeah, let us know what your predictions are. Let us know if you guys are going to tune in. I, of course, am picking Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble again. I'm probably going to end up eating my hat on that one. And I've got Roman Reigns, of course, winning the Fatal 4-Way because he will be the champion come WrestleMania. But now that that's out of the way, instead of the hey, how are yous, we're going to get in. No, there's no.
One more
don't
thing
point
on
your finger at
wrestling.
me,
There's
sir.
one more. There's one more thing.
Yes.
Raw's going to Netflix.
That is true. Raw in
I really
2025.
thought you'd
That's
bring
not.
that
That's not happening.
Oh,
soon.
I thought it was sooner than that. Sorry.
No.
That's why I was excited about it because I didn't see a date with it. I just saw that they were going. I think that's interesting that they're jumping ship from where they were at and going to the big guys.
Nah, man. It's whoever's going to generate them the most cash. The CEO of TKO is all about generating that profit, and if Netflix is going to be the highest profit margin, that's where it's going to go. That man's entire bottom line is based on profit, so whatever's generating the most money, he would sell to Disney if it was going to be the right business move.
I think part of it is because they were bought out that they moved because weren't they with Peacock or something originally?
Yes.
Wasn't that their big push? Yeah.
But the only thing that's moving to Netflix is Raw, is like the show Raw. Peacock is still probably going to get all of their, because I think they have a long-term contract to do all of their premium live events. But that's wildly off topic. We'll get to talk about that later. That's April. This January.
I know, but it had to get brought up because that's huge wrestling news, man.
That is pretty big wrestling news. I shouldn't have skipped over it.
Well, I mean the Royal Rumble too.
As far as the announcements go, I know a lot of you guys have been posting and asking, especially on the Facebook, about our thoughts and opinions on a lot of the video game stuff that's coming out, or has came out recently. Things like Pal World, the Nintendo controversy, the modding community. We are going to get to that, but right now we're in anime month, so don't worry about it. It will be covered. But right now we are talking anime
on those studios. But first, pick a 3-man team to defend you against intergalactic alien overlord who's attempting to end your life. Ryan, who you got?
All right, so obviously we talked a little bit about it before the show, which I think it would be fun if Eric just started the live premiere like halfway through our pre-show discussions, and just let him roll. But I didn't. This was off the cuff. I didn't think about it very much, but I was definitely set up on like, okay, I need somebody that can take a hit and keep coming. So I need like a tank style character. I need pure damage, and then I need somebody that's smart enough to keep them pointed in the right direction. And so I'm going with Alucard, Weiss, and Madara Uchiha. Madara? Uchiha. I knew it sounded funny when I said it. I figure that gives me a pretty decent chance in most physical confrontation, and since it's an alien overlord, I'm thinking diplomacy is not really a great route to go.
Probably not needed.
And so I'm going with that one.
That's not a bad lineup. Weiss is definitely a good ace in the hole for just a whole myriad of things. Weiss can really do quite a bit.
It'd be interesting because they haven't done like what his negative thing, like if any of his abilities have limits or anything like that. They haven't talked too much about it. So I would be curious to see like a prolonged fight. Like obviously he's an angel in the world, so like they are very strong. But I'd be curious as to like how far it would go.
I think Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta couldn't work together to take down Whis. Both of them trying at the same time, and Whis. I think pretty consistently.
I just want to see as to how strong they're going to make them in the story. That's all. Like the angels in there, because they've talked not at all really about like any limitations they have. So so I'm excited to see where the show eventually takes them.
All right, Clark, who you got? Who's on your husbando list?
No, I have left all of my husbandos at home.
Can't risk them getting damaged.
Most of my husbandos are not meant for hand-to-hand combat. So I went with basically characters that I thought didn't have like a burnout on their powers and were just kind of like all goated and god tiered in their own realms. So I went with, of course, the OP character of all time, Lord Rimuru, from That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. Meliodas from the Seven Deadly Sins with full counter. You're not getting very far with that. And then I actually changed last second to Dark Schneider from the Bastards metal anime. I just think it would be fun to listen to him. I enjoy his stupidity. And once again, just dummy powerful, where he like blows himself up and then he's like, but wait, and then just stitches himself back together. I'm like, oh, okay, that happens.
There's actually something to be said.
I also have this power, which is the entire
it's
point
like,
of,
here's my ultimate. Wait, no, not that ultimate. This ultimate over here, the ultimate, I also have that. But what about
that's
this?
My alternate ultimate? That's my hip pocket ultimate for when I need to like really...
That's my weekday ultimate? Like, I didn't know I had to bring out my weekend ultimate. Yeah, so that's my lineup of just... I mean, Beelzebub,
not bad.
You can't beat it, so...
Yeah.
Oh, and I love the idea of having, Rimuru, who probably can take it on his own. Like, let's be honest here. And then you just have somebody that's it's kind of fun to listen to. Like, he's just there for loudmouth. It's like having Deadpool on your team. Yeah. He's there for the comedic relief.
He is.
Go over there and talk shit to that other team bore this booger eats them.
He's a slime, not a booger.
Whatever. I really feel like we're splitting hairs in that descriptor of Rimuru and his actual shape. All right, my list. I've got Vegeta for a touch of serious, because if I'm going to have a bodyguard team, essentially, I want somebody who's got some focus. I thought about picking Goku, but that guy, he just can't stay on track. He's going to give evil alien overlord plenty of time to power up and bring all of his worst weapons. I'm not looking for that. I also don't want to die and then be resurrected by the Dragon Balls. Like, I'm not trying to join Yamcha and Krillin and have this happen over and over again. Which I think we talked about this last time. Yamcha has only died once in the series, but we give him shit because he died like a bitch in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. But I digress. So I've got Vegeta, because I gotta have a touch of serious, and he's very tanky. Like, Vegeta can soak up some solid
he can
damage.
Take a hit.
Until his left arm gets hurt.
That's not true.
Out of socket.
Doesn't matter. I've got Ichigo from Bleach, who has a little bit of main character syndrome, to where he just reaches a new peak every time.
Plot is super
kind of hard. Yeah, kind of hard to pick a main character that doesn't just have like exponential levels where they can increase. But I do like Ichigo. Again, I pick somebody who's serious and can stay on topic. He's also got a pretty wide array of powers, so he can be up close and at range, given the... I suddenly lost the name of his attack.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is bringing in Ichigo lets you kind of do some Spirit World shenanigans, so you're kind of covering your bases. I like that.
Getsu Genten Sho. That's the name of his big earth-shattering sword slash. And then lastly, just for a little touch of chaos, and again, because he would take protecting me very serious, even if he wasn't very serious, is of course Vash the Stampede. He's going to be my long-range artillery, and the usurper of all well-made plans, because, again, his entire power base is luck. Get wrecked? Vash is going to get wrecked? I don't think so. Vash is always going to live.
Actually, you know what? I'm really shocked by there not being one character on Eric's list. And I'm going to let him say his list, and then I'm going to say the character I thought was going to be on it.
List.
Okay, so I thought about something while I was sitting here, but he would be a super cheat mode, so I can't use him, because it wouldn't be fair to everybody. Because I would pick Mahito from JJK, and he would just turn everyone into some fucking pudding. But...
Shows are very much fun to watch.
You could just pick Gojo.
I don't want I like Toto because he'd analyze the situation. Like if you're talking about a team, like I already have I'm gonna go Goku. So Goku, Gojo, and then Asta. none of them are very serious about anything. Like I would surely die in seconds.
But they'll feel bad about it afterwards.
They will. They'll
Yeah,
bring me back. Like, out of all of you, I'll die, but I will be brought back when Goku wins.
Well, yeah, that's what
so,
I'm
like,
saying.
that's
Like,
my thing. Like, I'll still
Gojo
I'll
at least
come back.
has reverse curse.
I'm just
but
gonna start referring to you as fucking Yamcha from here on
I
out.
like-
I'm willing to
I like-
die.
I like Toto though, because Toto's smart. Like during the show, like he's very smart. Like I needed a guy that's somewhat smart to control
I'm not
it.
knocking that pick.
So like even though like Goku might not be willing to fight right away, Gojo's Boogie Woogie's gonna put him into the fight no matter what. He could fight if he wants to or not, but Gojo's gonna Toto's gonna put him in the fight. And then Asta, he's the only thing that's gonna deal with Meliodas, because Meliodas' attack is magic. His sword deals with magic, so I'm good.
Our
I'm
teams aren't fighting. Our
Yeah,
teams are
we're-
protecting
That's
us
right.
against. Yeah.
We're
It
not
is.
fighting each other's teams there, Eric.
I'm
We're
just
fighting
saying.
evil alien overlord.
I know, but
Yeah.
we were talking
Cool,
about each
you've
other's teams
countered
earlier.
one of my person.
That's it. I'm only
Yeah.
worried. Meliodas is like the most
And-
Bamf character. Like I
and
would
no one on my
absolutely have
team.
picked him if no one else did. Like Meliodas his full counter is just ridiculous.
In case the evil alien overlord, man, it took me a long time to get that out. I think I just had a stroke. Yeah, in case the evil overlord decides to hire Meliodas, you do have that one base covered. And
I
then
do.
in
And
all
Asta's
other
good, though. He's
situations,
got-
Asta's just going to
I've got
shout, do
flight.
push-ups.
I've got
I think
flight.
we're missing the
magical
obvious thing
swords.
that happened here.
He's
So-
got
He
so
didn't-
much to him.
We went
didn't pick
across
Pikachu.
the nerdverse. He didn't
I-
pick Pikachu.
I
No,
thought
Pikachu-
he
We
was
went
going
across
to.
the nerdverse. We gathered up a strong team to stop a galactic threat. And Eric's first thought is, I'm going to join the galactic threat and fight all of my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I,
just
for
want-
one, welcome
I
our new
picked Asuka
alien
before I knew
overlord.
she had Meliodas, so just throwing that out there.
You're just mad because I picked him first.
I am. I'm
That's
very
why you gotta
mad.
get your lists out. Actually, no. You picked your list. Never mind. You picked your
Yeah.
list after me. Okay.
I picked
Did he-
it first. Originally, I picked it first, but the problem is that Kakashi would be kind of useless because of the
Oh,
way
100%.
his eye
If
works.
nobody else
Yeah.
is using jutsu, yeah.
Well, just because his big thing is always to copy what your
Right,
abilities
is-
are. Like
is
he's got
jutsu,
a
but-
plethora of abilities. Like if they're just like low level like aliens running at him like zombies, he's gonna mow them down all day.
Ooh,
But,
that's
like,
actually a good
a big-
point.
A big bad coming at him, like I think he'd have a little bit more problems because of his
feel like
lack
every-
of
I feel
copy.
like everybody's team has a pretty serious like ad clear ability because I mean
Yeah.
Gallic Gun with Vegeta, Gun
Wise, like-
with Vash, like
Rimuru can just make it rain bullets. It's fine. Like lasers.
yeah, Rimuru is just gonna win. That's his
Yeah.
his win
That's his
condition is
thing, it's
victory,
just-
and that's it. Yeah, like nobody
Yeah.
picked
But-
Naruto, so nobody's gonna convert the evil overlord to an ally. So
Yeah,
They're
power
friends.
friendship.
weaponized friendship.
So
His whole
there's my
power
team. I'm
base.
taking Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and
I feel
And
like
the other-
Rainbow Dash. I feel like the entire Care Bear lineup would be a pretty solid defensive team as well.
How
Like,
many Care Bears can you name? I can name a bunch.
like
that's
None.
a weird
Awesome
flex.
show. Yeah, I
Weird
think
flex, Eric.
actually, I think
What?
Luck and then Stormy. I think are the only two that I know.
Is
There's
Luck the 4-leaf clover one?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, then I know that one.
Yeah. like,
There's
The rest,
Lionheart,
none.
Tenderheart.
how much
Lion
Care
Sheer
Bears have you
Bear.
watched? Like over under. Like,
We should have
well,
known
good.
this with all the
Plus
Pikachu's the
40.
strongest character in the universe.
James said
talk.
Saki, Mob, and Sataman, or Satama, or
oh,
whatever you guys
Saitama.
call him.
Saitama. Yeah, he's picking one
Yeah.
punch
Mob,
man.
and I don't know who Mob is. And then
Mob
Psyche,
from Mob Psycho.
No, Mab.
probably.
Oh.
It's like,
And then
nobody went
SAI.
with
Mab.
with any of the JoJos.
I don't know how they
Who's-
fight. I don't know how it
Yeah.
works.
Very homoerotically. Like,
I know they
it's the only-
pose.
it's the only thing I remember from that show. I was like,
I
it's a little sexual tension in this fight. Like,
So
actually,
for
I
those
think
that
that was the
are,
first question I asked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when my friend was watching it. I was like, "Are these dudes dating?" They're like, "No, they're mortal
Yeah.
enemies." I was like, "Oh, weird vibe." Like,
weird, but
fooled me.
yeah, I thought it was a romance anime the first time I watched it. I was like, "Man, everybody's wearing like really tight, revealing clothes."
what's going to be bad is, we opened up with like this major combat, dramatic, violent opening, and I'm about to take a complete opposite stance on the discussion of studios.
And immediately bring up like Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
And with that segue, I guess.
I guess I'm going to have to eat some crow on this one.
No, go ahead, Ryan. Lead us off, man.
So obviously tonight, guys, we're going to be discussing two distinct topics in regards to anime. It's going to close out Anime Month, and I'm really excited about it. We're going to be talking about our favorite studios and our least favorite studios, as well as our favorite movies and least favorite movies. And because of those two topics, obviously any anime fan is going to immediately jump to Studio Ghibli. Ghibli. I actually don't know how to say it. And
Studio Giblets, like the chicken.
Yeah.
No, what?
I said Studio Giblets, like chicken.
Like chicken? At least I got chicken. So what I did do to start us off, I opened up Screen Rant, and of course Screen Rant always delivers with the top 10 best anime studios, and I don't know what their metric is. They talk like it's about the money, right? Like how well they did as far as production goes. And I know everybody's going to have their favorites, and everybody's going to have their thing. That's a beautiful thing about the Nerdverse. But I am going to open up with Studio Ghibli, and its cohort, Studio Colorido. And the reason I'm going to bring these up is because it's probably my favorite anime.
Somebody's clickety-clacking really hard. Who's
I was like,
typing
damn,
messages on their keyboard?
This is the first time, this is a silent mechanical keyboard. God, I hope people in my meetings don't hear this.
I was like, are you sending a work email? Like, who bothered you after 7 that you're having to send such a heated deal?
Actually, this is like my quietest clicky mechanical keyboard. I have like a red cherry upstairs that is just so fucking loud.
Have you guys seen the gif of the baboon that's like touching the computer a few times and it's like not doing what it wants to, so it just shoves the whole thing off the desk?
It's me.
Why do I get the feeling that's Clark?
Right now,
I have
straight up.
purchased so many keyboards in the past 5 years because I kept spilling on them when I was raiding.
I thought it was because of how hard you were frickin' typing.
No. Now I'm worried that people in my
You're gonna drive that enter key through the floor, man.
To be
no
fair,
wonder Khan's scared.
My S button is no longer an S, it's just a blank T.
Jesus. You type "shut up, asshole" a lot.
Control S, just over and over.
S.
What's that?
Using that clip tool.
Oh.
Eric be like, why? Why macro?
Why macro?
Well, to be fair, all of my Excel keys are bound to my gaming mouse, so that's how I do Excel.
But no, and as we go through, guys,
another more wildly off topic.
As we go through here, guys, especially those of you that are tuning in live via YouTube, we're going to be going through these. I'm very interested to know what your favorite studios are and how you feel about the ones that we bring up in this list. Obviously, I'm going to be starting off with Studio Ghibli, and I really want to emphasize, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you on Facebook. We want to hear from you on our Instagram. We want to hear from you on the comment section of YouTube. So give us a like, give us a share, tell all your friends to check out these 4 nerdy people talking about stuff they don't truly understand. And then take a leaf out of Clark's book here and just
type really
hard
hard
on those keys. Yeah, I want to know everything I'm wrong about. It's honestly every time we start talking about.
Let me begin.
Every time we start talking about anime, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's always pronunciation, right? Like I never know how to pronounce any of this stuff. It never sticks whenever I've looked it up and tried to correct it. But yeah, the reason I'm picking Studio Ghibli for probably my top studio out there, my production out there, is because so many of these movies are just ingrained parts of my personality at this point. They just blended together, and I speak in chopped up quotes, and that's how it goes. Things like My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, and Howl's Moving Castle were huge parts of my life, and ones that I was super stoked to share with my children. And that's something I think Studio Ghibli does really, really well. And my daughter, for example, absolutely loves Kiki's Delivery Service. It's all about it. And
one.
Yeah, I love them. And when you're dealing with anime, especially as we take our cruise ship here through the anime section of the Nerdverse, a lot of anime is, in my opinion, very I don't even know how to put it. I don't want to say cookie cutter because that's not exactly right, but it's always the same. You have overpowered character with overpowered friends that defeat the bad guys.
Formulaic.
Yeah, it's very formulaic. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of like weird rules, and of course, every time you sit down with any anime nerd, it eventually devolves into what we opened with, right? Is can Goku beat up Superman? Can Saitama win in a fight against Vegeta? Like,
I still posit that Goku and Superman aren't going to fight each other because neither one of them are really going to want to fight.
yeah.
Like, Goku's going to want to know how strong Superman is.
Yeah, I was going to say
Superman's
that's
just
what
like,
it is.
I don't want to fight you.
And of
Pikachu
course,
beats them all, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
And
about
that's why I was
Pikachu.
really surprised it's not on your
I'm
list.
surprised Pikachu was not on your list. Well, you have to have Ash with him, and you couldn't double up on anime, so.
Yeah,
That's
see?
fair.
And so Studio Ghibli is going to be my top pick, and I know we have a lot of we're going to be opening with top picks and that kind of stuff. But I do want to give a shout out to Studio Colorido. I don't know a lot about these guys. They showed up on Netflix one day, kind of out of nowhere for me, and their stuff is amazing. Two particular movies that stand out to me are Drifting Home and A Whisker Away. Now, Clark, for you in particular, you should check out A Whisker Away. It's kind of a romance, slice of life kind of thing with a little bit of magic in it. It's very heartstrings plucky, and my youngest daughter absolutely loves it. And so Studio Colorido, it's got that Ghibli feel. It's got the animation style. It's very down to earth, makes you feel stuff, makes you happy, makes you sad, and it doesn't get as heavy as Ghibli does. Where you have like Grave of Fireflies, where all that one did was make you realize the horrors of war and get really sad. But Drifting Home and A Whisker Away are fantastic ones that I think kind of fall into the same club as Studio Ghibli coming out of Studio Colorido.
Are we only doing studios that did movies, or are we just doing studios that did anime?
Probably just studios in general. We're going to talk about movies more in depth,
Okay.
so I guess just favorite studios. And I'll see where you land on the top 10 list of Screen Rant.
Mine is A1.
A1.
They have made probably the most of my favorite. And what they are doing for Solo Leveling, I am very much appreciating. They did Dress Up Darling. They did Blue Exorcist. 86, Love is War. Like, they just have
SAO.
a solid... Yeah, it's like a solid,
That's- yeah.
well-rounded... I think they can do everything. Like,
That's a
I'm
pretty-
never
yeah, it's a pretty
worried
solid
when
pedigree.
I find out that they're making something.
Oh, they
Sweet.
did Your Lie in April too? I didn't know. Yeah, A1's
Right.
They
soft.
did Gate, like,
Gate's a good one, too.
Fairy Tale back in the day. Yeah, like,
Miss Fairy Tale.
I'm never worried when I see that they're making something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a really good pedigree for a studio. Like, that's pretty solid
That's why I
options.
picked them.
Well, and
I'm
it only
curious to see if
it was-
if Eric's gonna open up with a studio. I think he's gonna open up with.
Well, here's the interesting thing about A1 before we move on to the next one. They came into the scene in 2005. They're very young. And so I think that's a hell of a pedigree for such a
I guess
Solid
it depends
studio.
what we're defining as young, but yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
considering
hey,
it's
hey.
coming up on 20 years. So
We could have
I-
you're shy.
avoided
was made
that.
before that, so I can say that. I was
All right, Eric.
minted before 2005.
I
Established-
graduated right around.
Yeah, I was
somewhat
like, I
maybe.
graduated.
I
Okay,
graduated in
Eric, you don't-
03, but
You don't have to lie
me.
about graduating. It's fine.
It's okay,
We
man.
just-
I
we love
graduated
you
with under
anyway.
a 2.0. It's all right.
What?
I'm not ashamed.
How did you graduate with under a 2.0?
Because at the time, our school didn't have a GPA thing. It was all about how many credits you had. You had to have English all 4 years, 2 years of math. Like, they had all these things, but none of it had to fucking do with GPA. So,
No
like,
child left behind.
yeah, right? See? And that was in 2003. Take that, New World. We were doing that a long time ago. Oh, and you had
What's your
to
favorite
pass
studio?
computers, something with computers.
Bones pick studio. Bones is his best. This is his best studio because he shares a nickname.
Not even
That's fair.
surprised.
Yeah,
That's a fair
This is
choice,
fair.
Bones. Like,
solid choice, Bones. Good reasoning.
So it's really hard because I have two that I
I'm
really
guessing
like.
I know one.
Everybody knows one because everybody loves Mappa. But the problem with
There
that
you
one
go.
is when you whip people to make them
Human
draw
rights.
stuff, it's like it's
Yeah.
not very nice. Like, and I don't think anybody's even like. I don't even have to worry about being controversial with that statement. Like that's
Yeah,
just it's a
Suffering
fucking
makes
known
great
fact.
art.
Right?
I will
but
I
say-
mean,
Now that there's the thing, like it sounds horrible to like it sounds bad to say, but if they weren't pushed like that, would it be as good as it is? That's the horrible side
yes,
to this.
it would.
It
would still be as good as it is.
Probably be better.
Well, because
It's
Artist
not like-
rights violations.
but like if
It's
you
not
look
like
at like
tears
artists
mixed
though,
with the animation and make it better. Like,
Just
but
enough
if you
salt.
look at like artists
Yeah.
when they go through a lot of like tough times and stuff, they make
No.
even better stuff. I'm not saying
You're-
it's right, and I don't want them to be by any
How do
means.
you water down your
but
paint for animation?
I'm just saying.
Oh, I just make the guys cry into it, and then it goes further. Like,
Well, hey, we
I
had a
love
lot
how
of
you
jokes about we
still
used to
think it's
clean
all
our.
animated on like paint. It's all digital.
I know it's all digital, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
They're
joke
I
sorting out their
stands. Like,
iPads with tears, okay?
Right. And like I'm
Um,
not saying, but I would be curious because suffering and things like that. Like when you look at great musicians and artists throughout time, it's like a lot of them had some horrible suffering going on when they
I
made some
think
amazing
that's more
work.
part of like the creative process and less a part of like the doing process.
The production.
Like you
But
just
at
need
no po-
one tortured artist. You don't need 57
Yeah.
tortured engineers.
I don't think it's okay.
yeah,
By the way,
like,
Yeah, we do not. That's actually a good moment. For the record, there's a lot of
Yeah.
controversy about
Eric's
MAPPA.
on a watch list now.
We do not condone or really weigh in on a lot of this kind of stuff. Obviously, a lot of stuff they're accused of is very, very bad, and we're just going to skip right on past that, and take a moment to appreciate the art and maybe not the artists,
dude,
as it were.
JJK, dude.
Because Jujutsu
It's a good
Kaisen,
anime.
Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, and of
I
course
forgot
Chainsaw
they
Man.
did Vinland
But,
Saga.
Mhm.
but
And
yeah,
I don't like
Chainsaw-
Chainsaw Man, but it looks beautiful, and the
Oh,
way
the
they did
animation's
it was
great.
really nice.
Clark
I don't
hates
like
his
it,
teeth.
but-
Chicken.
Yeah.
Just weird.
But like, if I had to pick one that doesn't abuse people, it would be the Ufotable or whatever that one is. 'Cause
UFO
they
table?
do Demon Slayer.
UFO
yeah.
table, yep.
Oh, okay.
Fate
Whatever.
Zero, Demon Slayer,
Yeah.
solid.
Fate Zero and Demon Slayer are just two of the best.
Their art style is very good. I really do like the animation and art that comes out of UFO Table. Not
And you
the
know what?
studio I thought you were gonna pick.
Yeah, not what I thought he was gonna go with. I'm not
Oh,
gonna lie.
Fate Zero, Fate and Demon Slayer too. Like
M-
I've rewatched both of those series, like in all the different Fates, like several times. Like Archer
I
is like
guessed
one of my
those
favorite
two.
all
I was
time.
quite proud of myself for Eric
Really,
because of how much he
UFO
likes
Table
Demon
and
Slayer.
Nappa? Wow.
Yeah.
See,
See,
actually,
and
I
I
was gonna
thought-
call out Bones. Like I thought Bones Studio was gonna be
I
on
thought
there
Studio Bones
simply
was gonna get it because of My
yeah.
Hero.
My Hero Academia. For those
But
of you that
they
are
don't
listening,
have
obviously,
the same roster.
Bones Studio carries a wicked pedigree as well with things like My Hero Academia and Mob Psycho 100, and of course, Full Metal Alchemist. So,
Yeah, we're on Orion's fate. Edward.
really, I don't like Anime Month anymore.
Either I'm gonna bring it up or Bones is gonna bring it up in the comments. You knew one of us was gonna say something.
Oh, and
You
and
know
Bones is
who
right.
we are.
It is
Yeah.
a problem. The work stuff is a problem everywhere overseas.
Yeah,
I mean-
and
Oh,
a lot, not even just overseas. We can take a minute to acknowledge the fact
shit.
that as nerds,
Yeah.
and this isn't just anime nerds either. This is basically everything, whether it's Hollywood or music or whatever. The industries right now are very rough, and there is
Yeah.
serious rights problems and
A lot of
concerns across
a lot of
most
animation studios, yeah, deal with that
There's
where they're
some new
putting
ones
people on
coming.
like serious crunches and stuff. So
There's some
But I
big names
digress.
that are starting their own studio right now.
True story.
You go look and like there's some people from MAPPA, a big name from MAPPA and a big name from another one are coming together to start a new studio. So there's gonna be some big crazy shit coming out, dude, where people are gonna have rights again and make anime.
I
I'm just
thought
gonna have to wait longer for my anime, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I don't even think you'll have to wait longer. It's just about hiring more people.
yeah,
I think, but a new studio starting out, they're not gonna be able to hire enough
Well,
people
yeah,
to make
they're
it.
not going to
That's what
fire
I'm saying.
off right
Like,
away.
right? So, like, I'm fine with that.
so
Alright, let me
I,
take
A1
the reins
also
here.
did Mashal.
Travis, what you got?
so honestly, I thought I'm going to bring it up since nobody's mentioned it yet, and that's Studio is it Pirate? Pierrot?
If I don't see
Pirate?
it, I don't know.
Not on the list.
Pierrot. They should be because they've made Naruto, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Black Clover.
Whoa!
Pretty substantial pedigree.
All the big
so I
chunky
really-
sword ones.
Yeah, I feel like that should have been on you guys' lists.
Oh,
and
Studio
honestly, I thought that
Perot.
was
Okay.
Is it Perot? God, that's
It's
a weird way
Perot,
to
yeah.
Okay, that's a weird way to spell Perot. I'm
Ooh,
used to not
and
having an I in that, but
a storied one, 1979 established.
yeah, they've been animating for a really long time. And like I said, they've made some absolute freaking classics. Because like I said, Yu Yu
bangers,
Hakusho was one of the first anime I ever really got into after my like introductory phase, where people kind of eased me in with Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, and then Bleach, and then when I got deployed and a whole bunch of people were watching Naruto, that series started off against my will, and then I ended up watching all of it because that was what was on the laptop.
Are they doing the new the 1,000-Year Blood War for Bleach? Oh, nice.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is a solid studio.
Yeah, and I really thought that's where Eric was going to lead off with.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was either that or Toei.
Toei. Because it has the word toe in it?
Because they make Dragon Ball Z.
Ah, that's fair.
a good.
And like they're a solid studio, but I really can't name anything else Toei has made that comes to mind immediately. I know they've made a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying
Honestly,
to think.
until I started doing a lot of this nerd stuff, like starting with Heroes in the Nerdverse before this one, I actually didn't like look at a lot of different anime as much. So like I probably would have definitely picked them originally because like Dragon Ball Z, like Goku's like my favorite all time. Like if I could be any,
they make One Piece too. I knew they made a whole bunch. They made a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
I would be Goku though if I could be anybody. He's just
they also
power,
have,
and then you just don't care.
Digimon.
Funny.
They have One Piece. They have Dragon Ball. They have Sailor Moon.
Evangelion.
See, the reason they're probably not on the list, a lot of that stuff's older and they don't make it as current, so it's probably why they're not. So like in the 2000s, they'd be huge.
Wait, they made Yu-Gi-Oh?
That doesn't seem right. They made Yu-Gi-Oh?
I thought Bandai Namco made Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hold on here.
They might have made like a season. Sorry, my cats are being very cute and cuddling on the chair, so I had to take a peek.
Let's see.
Is it Leroy and Jenkins or is it all of them?
2000.
No, it's Valkyrie and Jenkins, which is very uncommon.
Weird, yeah. They're plotting against you. They've come to an agreement. Your life is soon to end. I will be more than happy to take
another good one.
Madhouse has got some good stuff.
Only because Hunter. But I'm going to be curious how that series goes now, because we mentioned last week he gave up the ending to it, and now I'm going to be curious if people keep up, because it's like reading the end of the book before you read the whole book.
You're forgetting a piece of Madhouse's pedigree.
One Punch?
No. Trigun, man.
Trigun, yeah. So it looks like
but
Yu-Gi-Oh!
A1 made Darlings in the Franxx, so...
Yeah, A1 made Darling
I assume
in the Franxx,
they also make hentai given Darling in the Franxx.
Hey. Don't hate on the tentacles.
Ryan's like, quit shitting on hentai. It's art.
So it looks like Studio Gallop has Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. I could be incorrect because, as it turns out, there's an epic amount of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I didn't know that.
I would have
There's
been
an
willing
ungodly
to...
amount
Oh my
of
god,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
yes.
I would have been willing to bet Eric's house that Bandai Namco was the one that made Yu-Gi-Oh! Watch me lose my mind.
All right,
I only really know them for
kind
games.
of picked our tops. According to Screen Rant, here are the top 10. So A1 made 10. So starting at 10, working our way up. And we already talked about that. You know, SAO 86, Your Lie in April, Love is War, fantastic pedigree. At number 9, we have Production IG, another one from the 80s, and they have Psycho Pass and Haikyuu.
Oh, they did Ghost in the Shell, right?
Did they do Ghost in the Shell?
I'm pretty sure Production
that
IG
old
did
of a
Ghost
studio,
in the Shell.
Probably. And with the other titles like Psycho Pass and stuff.
If I'm wrong,
imagine.
Bones is going to let me know soon because I think he's a big Ghost in the Shell fan.
I love Ghost in the Shell. I don't know anything about the studio. So at number 8 we have David Production, and their pedigree is very specific. They have JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Fire Force, and Undead Unluck.
Yeah,
so Undead Unluck.
Yeah, Production IG does Ghost in the Shell.
Wit Studios. We talked about them a little bit already. Madhouse. So Madhouse has got One Punch Man. Freyren, which we talked about last time. Hunter, yeah. Of course, MAPPA comes in at number 5 with Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Chainsaw Man, etc. That's curious.
Jujutsu
So Wit
Kaisen.
Studios was involved with Vinland Saga as well as Ranking of Kings. And they passed off both Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga to another studio before they were finished. So Wit Studios got some claim to some good stuff. Any case, number 4, Kyoto Animation with K-On! And Nichiju? I don't know a lot of these. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, a silent voice. Solid.
Don't Google that one on your work computer. I don't know what's gonna come up.
Yeah.
Just be safe. Do that on your phone.
Coming in at number 3 is Bones, with My Hero Academia and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Number 2 is
Wit
UFO
Studio
Table.
also did Spy Family.
Spy
I
Family.
like
Gotcha.
Spy Family.
I do like Spy
Number 2
Family.
is UFO Table, currently cruising on Demon Slayer, which is fantastic, beautiful animations. So, and then coming in number 1 is Studio Ghibli, which I talked about at the beginning of our deal here. So that's the top 10 according to Screen Rant.
Probably some of the best. On no one's list, Bandai Namco, who's a very old school studio. I don't think they still produce.
I keep forgetting they made anime.
They made a
Because
lot
like
of
when
anime.
I think Bandai Namco, I think the video games, and I'm like, okay, Tales
Yeah.
of Arise, the Tales, like.
Right.
Ooh, yeah,
Didn't
they got
they
My
make
that.
old
Robotech?
boss actually used to work for them, so I was like,
I mean, they
dang,
made
I
Cowboy
probably should have
Bebop.
paid attention.
Like,
Yeah, back in the
Yeah.
day.
it doesn't make
Malevolent
any less
Spirits, Birdie
relevant.
Wing,
Yeah. Bernie Wing's a good one.
Aikatsu Planet,
I don't know that one.
Aikatsu on Parade. There's a lot of Aikatsus. One's
Don't
actually just
Google
called
that
Aikatsu. Tribal Cool Crew, Gintama, Brave Beats,
Brave Beats is a good
lots
one.
of films. Wow, they have
Just
a
kidding. I don't know
lot
anything about Brave
of
Beats.
stuff going on.
Yeah,
with
Bandai
Bandai
Namco's
Namco.
done a lot. They've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. Like, truth be told, when it comes to Bandai Namco, Cowboy Bebop's always going to live up there for me.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
obviously, anybody that's listened
yeah,
to all of our
I
episodes,
talked
we know
about,
that there's.
I talked about Toei a little bit there, Bones.
Yeah, indeed we
With
did.
Dragon
And
Ball
so
Z
yeah,
and Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece
Crunchy.
and all the other massive IPs that Toei is involved in. I know DBZ is always the first one that comes to mind just because I watch it. Like, they always show the logo at the beginning.
so yes, Production IG was Cyberpunk Futures with Ghost in the Shell. Specifically, Standalone Complex is noted as one of their most successful. So I can get behind that. PA Works creates beloved underground favorites like Angel Beats. Let's see, who else do we have up here that was not mentioned? JC Staff, Romances in Turadura. I'm looking at Clark for that one.
Not to be confused with
Why?
Duran Duran,
don't know
who's
that
a
one,
famous
I'm
band from
sorry.
the 80s. You're welcome.
You know what doesn't get
Toei.
enough love from all these studios? The music
Eric.
that's put into the soundtrack, or that's put into all the
Yeah.
anime.
No,
I honestly think
So good.
Clark doesn't give a shit about intro songs to anime.
don't
I'm
give
not
a
saying
shit
just
about intro
intros.
songs,
Skipping
but
it.
inside of it, Mashal, the fight song for in like the Mashal series, that is a banger. I hate that phrase, but everyone at my work has been using it, so now it's just stuck in my vocabulary. But that song slaps. Like the fight
How is
song
saying
for
slap
Mashal.
any
I
better
knew,
than a banger?
I knew you were gonna say it slaps. I knew you were gonna say it slaps.
But
Slaps so hard.
I think like that makes a good chunk of an anime. Like if they can do decent music like the soundtrack on top of everything else. And you
I
can
mean,
see it, like some of the
by
older
that
ones don't
regard-
have a great one.
Spielberg's not a great filmmaker unless he has John Williams. Like,
No, I do think that music does need a shout out because it gets ignored a lot, especially like the bands and sometimes full orchestral productions when it comes to anime. And music makes or breaks it. I mean, there's a whole subgenre on YouTube, on TikTok, and a lot of social media about changing the music to certain scenes in movies and how it completely changes everything.
I
In
never
fact,
see
we should
that
probably.
in meme form.
Is it meme form?
yeah.
The amount of stuff that I Need a Hero matches to just cracks me up.
Need a hero.
But yeah, no, I do think I think a lot of love needs to go out to the music. I got to give Eric credit on that one because a lot of these would just not be as good without the music. Studio Ghibli included. I think some of the music is what makes it.
Well, because if you look at some of those animes, like they're not known for like their music, so I feel like that's a reflection a little bit on the studios, not just like the animes themselves. So like, I
I mean,
can't think like
the
if,
Anime
if I
Awards
think.
every year give out awards to like.
Oh no, yeah. I just mean like,
Like,
when,
Which,
when
by the
you
way,
think.
have you guys voted?
No,
No. Voting doesn't matter. That's why I don't do
no.
it.
Hey.
For the
We
Anime
voted
Awards, it does.
We voted on the Fat Bears last fall.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
God,
Yeah.
that is my highlight of like the upcoming winter, is to get a vote in Fat Bear Week. That shit's amazing.
Jeez, I'm
All right, so let's yank the reins here. Now, the second part of this particular episode, we're going to be covering, as it turns out, a little bit of a controversial topic, in the form of
Yes.
anime, movies, and films.
Oh,
now, obviously,
never mind.
That is
And about-
controversial.
But apparently, this is kind of a debated topic. In pre-show, we had kind of a long discussion about it, and there are some very strong feelings about how even some of the best anime just cannot land a decent film. And some studios, especially like Ghibli, that's all they make is feature-length movies and films. And so
The sheer volume of non-canon films are what gets me. Like, if it's a film that pertains to the story, I'm usually pretty okay with it. But like, don't give me a whole fucking 2-hour filler movie. Like, kiss my ass.
well, and it's not even filler, right? It's actually just straight up non-canon. And that is something that I find very confusing. Like, what was the point? And these are not simple, easy things to make, right?
Yeah, that was Clark's big heated thing when we were talking about Shonen. I think is getting her fired up.
Yeah. I think for me, Studio Ghibli makes standalone movies, whereas a lot of these other ones, I'm thinking like the Demon Slayer train arc, they put it out in a movie and then it immediately came out episodic, and I thought it was better episodic than it was as a movie for no
it was
reason.
way more easier to digest in
Yeah.
episodic form. Yeah, I'm with you.
A lot of the times I don't like the movies that they basically just take a season and just delete the credits and intro
Yeah.
from and mush them together. Like, if it's a standalone movie like Studio Ghibli's, I love them because it's a standalone story. I'm whisked into the world. It works that way in a movie. But I think with like a lot of these arcs, the movie doesn't have like a true start, a middle, and a true end, because I'm expected to have already watched 2 seasons and then like take that into my experience, and then there's no resolution at the end, really. It's all right, I'll see you next episode. And I for some reason I don't like that.
See, it falls into the same realm of frustration with me as when you'd watch like, and this is gonna make every one of us sound super, super old, in the fact that when you'd watch your television programs on a weekly basis, and they would do the mini series where it was essentially, instead of having a contained story in one episode or 2 episodes, if it was a cliffhanger where you had to tune in next week, they did it over like 4 episodes. And then after like a month, they would just run all 4 episodes back to back when it was time to start doing reruns. And I hated that shit. Like, you could have condensed this into 1 or 2 episodes and been just as fine. I don't need 4 episodes of you following the same guy poorly.
Well, and that's actually something that comes up in conversation, especially with my wife a lot, because my wife is definitely one of those people that if I offer to watch a movie, she thinks watching a 2-hour movie is going to be exhausting. It's already 5:30, like we can't do that today. Instead, let's go ahead and binge watch 5 hours worth of this television show.
Yeah.
And I've never been one
to
that's
45-minute chunks.
Yeah, like I've never been one that understood that dichotomy. She's tried to explain it to me because it's moved beyond like I just don't agree. Like that's not really the argument, right? It's the fact that I don't understand why 6 hours of Survivor is less exhausting than 2 hours of whatever, of Godzilla, right?
You don't have to pay attention.
Well, and that's kind of what she was
You
trying
don't
to
even
explain
have
to
to
me.
watch Survivor.
Yeah.
Like I think with some of those
ever,
shows
you don't
is
have
like
to put it on either.
yeah. I think with some of those, it's like in a movie, I have to focus, or else I'm never going to be able to get back to like knowing the plot. Whereas, like in a TV show, like I'm always going to kind of come back to the main plot. / it's only a 30 minutes that I have to pay attention to this story. I'm getting a new story next time, so if I don't pay attention, it doesn't matter to me in an kind of thing.
Yeah, I have to give myself a brief confession here with anime, because that's what I put on when I paint. Like my Warhammer minis is anime's always playing. Usually, like 9 times out of 10. Every once in a while, it's something else. But I digress. and then I'll go back and just be like, I feel like watching this anime series again. And then I'll realize that I haven't really watched any of it. Like, I can probably tell you where they're at in the story based on what they're talking about. I painted all the way through Yu Yu Hakusho the first time I watched it after I got together with Elena, and she was just like, who's this bad guy? And like, again, I'm not even looking at the screen, and I wait for him to talk, and I'm like, oh, it's not really a bad guy. That's Kuwabara. They're going to be friends later. It's fine. And she was like, you didn't even look at the screen, and the other guy's not talking. And I was like, yeah, but he called him big dumb idiot, and that's what he always calls Kuwabara, so... And then I'll watch like a fight scene from an anime, and I'm like, oh, that's what this fight scene looked like. I was picturing this way different when I wasn't physically watching this show.
And I think that's what gets me is, a lot of times, especially when it comes to like these very easy to digest shows, or even very easy to digest animes, right? I know a lot of people that are exactly like that, Travis. They'll put on an anime just kind of be on. They're not listening to it. They're not paying attention to it. They're not watching it. And that's how they want to consume the media. And I don't get that. It's difficult for me to have an anime on and not be paying attention.
I agree with you on that one. Like, I think it's because I only watch sub, so I have to read it. Or else I'm like, I don't fucking know what they say Nani, and I'm like, oh, somebody's confused. And that's it.
Yeah, or if they're calling somebody idiot, I know that's baka.
Yeah, like
right. And so yeah, that's why I think I don't see a lot of difference between enjoying a film or a movie and binge watching the television shows.
If I'm actively watching, it doesn't really matter if it's TV show or movie. It is one of those things where if I decide I'm really tired or whatever, it's easier to stop a TV show than it is a movie. Because if
TV
I stop
show
a
is
movie
less
in
commitment.
the middle of it, yeah.
But so it's really not
issues.
though.
Yeah.
Because
just checking.
You're committing to a 6-hour binge watch compared to a 2-hour movie.
You're breaking it up into chunks of 45 minutes at a time, and any 45-minute interval you can just quit.
And
now, whether or not you go through 13 45-minute intervals or 2, right? You have those stopping points.
There's an option for you to stop, but you continue because you're a champion.
But the show is, it alters a little bit. Like, it doesn't stay the same exact. Like, the movie will play out the one storyline for an hour and a half, like a train.
You can literally splice in any episode of Survivor with a different episode of Survivor, and it's the same show.
Well, yeah, and so bear in mind, I brought that up as a random example. I'm not actually even sure what my wife is watching presently. But, if we're dealing with anime, right? Obviously, we talk about, like, One Piece. One Piece is a crazy commitment.
So many movies.
And it's got so many movies. It's got, hundreds, thousands of episodes, and all of this screen time. And there's a lot of people that will put it on while they're, like, doing dishes, or playing Sudoku, or gardening. Like, I don't know.
Working out.
And I can't grasp that, because if I'm going to try to put something on while I'm working out, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit there in the middle of my fucking pad, little gym area that I have in the garage, and I'm just going to stare at the TV like, yes.
No, you're not, because 90% of that episode is filler. So you're fine. You've already seen it.
There's no commitment hardly for One Piece episodes, because by the time you skip the intro song and then the Monkey D. Luffy, the boy who ate the gum fruit, that isn't part of the intro but is always right after the intro.
It's another
you're
5
looking
minutes.
at like a 12. Yeah, you're looking at like a 12 to 15 minute episode.
Well, but here's the thing: filler episodes and that kind of fare, but we're upset at movies for not being canon.
It's canon. It's just repeated canon.
I skip filler episodes.
Dragon Ball Z was actually pretty good with that, though. Like, their movies
filler episodes? Yeah, there's a lot.
No, I mean, like, in the sense, like, their movies weren't all, like...
Oh, yeah. Dragon Ball Super Broly is considered one of the best, like, anime movies to have actually come out.
No, it's canon.
I'm not
like
actually
99%. But I'm talking, like, Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Z itself had a lot of movies attached to it that kind of filled in chunks of the story you wouldn't have got otherwise and things like that. So that was pretty cool. Like, Future Gohan. Future Trunks, stuff like that. Like their movies kind of filled that in, so you got a better idea. So I do think sometimes they can be used correctly. I think Naruto did an okay job with it too. Like you got their movies weren't always great. I know, but like you still got like some things answered in their movies. Not all of them, but like they did better than like I can't stand who did it. Like Demon Slayer is just like Clark mentioned in the beginning is just a money grab. Like they are not doing anything new in their movies. Their movies are just episodes. Like
spliced together episodes.
Yeah, I just wish Demon Slayer would answer questions with their movies or do different things with them.
That would require them to have a plot. That's what Clark's going to say.
Well, yeah, I know.
I'm
just saying.
I'm going to rant about the last Demon Slayer movie that we went to. Before the previews were out, we bought tickets to go to the theater, and it was legitimately just fucking 3 episodes. They played the trailers in the movie theaters, and I was like, nobody could have just spliced these out? No? Okay.
No.
Screw me. You're right. I was so mad. And that's so mad at that. Don't call that a movie. That's stealing my $10.
Bones says the Jujutsu Kaisen movie confused the hell out of him. That show confuses the hell out of me, so...
There's a lot of time skips in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, they move around time very often between seasons and in movies.
All I know is that you eat the fingies.
You just have to
one
watch
person
it more than
eats
once.
the fingies.
It's a one-man's quest for finger food.
It is a bananas ass show. I do not disagree. I don't think I have ever predicted anything that would come next in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, but it's not what I'm getting.
Exactly. I was like, oh, all right.
But see, they're an example of doing a movie right, though, because they put the show out and then they made the movie, which filled in questions you had from season 1 of JJ.
Yeah.
So, like, I love when studios do stuff like that because they use another avenue to, like, answer my questions. So, like, I'm not upset when they do that.
It should be linear.
I don't mind it because they get you grabbed though, like because you want to know about that particular character and why he was so powerful, and you want to know about the fight they talk about that happened in
October.
October.
If they give no explanation in the show, I stop giving a shit. Like I immediately just like, meh.
I will agree with Eric. I like it when like the movie might just be like about a side character where maybe I don't need a whole season arc for him, and like it messes up it messes up the flow of a normal season to just be like, here's 4 episodes for blank character, but like if you want to learn more about them, go watch this movie. And it's I could kind of get behind that better than them continuing the story arc. But I did like the Black Clover movie, so it's a watch.
Is that going to be? I don't think that's going to be considered canon, is it? Because of the way they did it. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, he gets his demon arm in this. Oh yeah, spoiler. He gets his demon arm, but he doesn't have it in the movie. But the movie takes place in a weird time, so I'm super curious as to where the movie's going to fit in the whole storyline. I remember there was more to it than that too. But
what are we considering like our top qualities to attach to movies that are from anime, right? Not animated, like anime movies like Studio Ghibli, but like the My Hero Academia movies, for example. Both are very highly rated. They have excellent scores on Rotten Tomatoes and several other critic sites. But what are we calling like the must-haves for this kind of thing? We don't want it to break up the flow of the show, so the movie needs to be supplemental, but not directly tied to the main storyline.
Or just its own story.
Yeah, we want it to be canon. And we want it to be something that answers questions, something that gives us more of the world to chew on, right?
The old school Trigun movie, I forget what it was, like the Desert Raid or Desert Train or something like that?
Trigun.
Yeah, I think they only made like 1 or 2 of the old school Trigun movies. I'm not talking about the new animation that's going on. I don't know if they're still making it, but yeah. It was a canon event. It took place between story arcs. Pretty well put together. You kind of get to see a little more in-depth look at some of the side characters because it's not just about Vash. which is nice. But you do also learn a little bit more about like his character motivations and stuff like that as the movie goes. So it kind of ticks all of those little boxes. It very easily could have been divided up into like a seasonal based episodic arc, I think. But as far as a movie goes, especially for like a shonen, especially one as old as that, is very good.
Rurouni Kenshin did a nice job too with their movies, especially their
live
last
actions
one.
Are dope.
Well, their last movie though was nice because it closed out the show. So like if you watch it put an ending to the whole series. Like that was nice to see when they made that movie.
I do like a good wrap up.
Yeah, like so like they closed it out with a movie instead of like another season. I don't know if the last season also closed out and they like made the movie too. I can't remember. But I do remember the last movie took it a little bit further. I think it did take it a little further than the show did. But it was really nicely done. So like closing out an anime, that's a great point to probably use a movie because you could put in more money into a movie because you can do the theaters and stuff like that. So if you're going to close out an anime, that's not a bad way to do it compared to doing it on TV shows.
I did like how Attack on Titan did it, where it's not quite a movie, but just a long-ass episode. And I was like, okay, I have enough attention span for this, I guess. And
did you watch the last episode before you watched anything in season 1?
I watched the last season before I watched... I refuse to watch anything else of Attack on Titan. It will spoil this nostalgic memory. Yeah, like...
But see, I'm surprised with that because like Attack on Titan is probably one of the few shows where I'm okay with having super long episodes at the end because it was so well written. Like if you
was also any good stopping point.
Because I don't think you could do that with a lot of other shows. I don't think My Hero could do it. Like I love that show, but I don't think even their movies, like even though they get great scores, like I'm not a huge fan of them. And like I got My Hero shit, and like I love it, but I don't think.
It's how his bathroom's decorated, in case you guys were curious.
Yeah, well, I stand right on Deku while I pee.
Whenever you're dealing with these kind of movies, right? If they're releasing a movie, especially one that's going to be in theaters, that's a huge dice roll to make. Yeah. Because either you're going to make one that's non-canon or not super relevant to the main storyline. That way, non-fans of the series can come in and enjoy the movie and understand what's going on and digest it well. Or you're going to run into the Marvel cinematic problem where in order to understand this movie, you really need to go and watch 6 months of this show and the other 3 movies and read the manga. And, you know, it turns it into that whole ordeal, right? And so when you start dealing with stuff like that, I think the My Hero movies do an okay job with that. Whereas if you start looking at things like One Piece Red,
you can't watch is so bad.
Yeah, you can't watch One Piece Red, the movie, without understanding what's going on in the show.
Yeah, there's like a whole Reddit thread on where the movies should line up based on what episode you're on. So if you want to watch it all like in order, and they're like, this one jumps back and forth in time, but you should really watch it between anywhere between episode 540 and episode 603. Like,
the Slime movie is kind of like that, where it's not actually canon, and I was like, all right, I didn't read this.
Well, and the other side of that coin is what I'm looking at. So I went ahead and pulled up Rotten Tomatoes top 100 best anime movies of all time, right? I'm kind of flipping through it. And there's some cool ones in here, but I'm also finding ones like I didn't know there was SAO movies. I watched SAO, I loved it, and then I walked away. I've never seen any of the SAO movies, and so now I got to go back and rewatch them.
Yeah, it fills in some of the gap on like the in-between levels. Because like in the show, like it's a pretty big jump between like, I think like they're on dungeon level 7, and then suddenly like the next episode they're on like 58.
Yeah,
like,
well, and they did that in the show really
like
hardcore. Yeah, and what's funny about that is that was one of my major complaints about SAO is that I wanted to watch them clear the levels. I wanted I could have watched
level clearing.
I could have watched a One Piece length show about them clearing level by level through the tower, and they set it up like that was going to be what it was. Like we're setting up for a long run campaign, so to speak, you know.
I would have at least liked to see them take the whole first season to clear the game. That would have been nice instead of half the season, because I think a lot of the things you loved about the show kind of went away the moment they came out of the game. I don't know. I lost interest. I still finished it.
Is the one where I really like. That
one
was a
was
head
pretty
scratcher.
good.
I
didn't
enjoyed
like
the Gun-Gale arc. I liked it better than I liked Alfheim.
Oh god, I decided to wield a lightsaber in the bullet game really bothers me. He's like, I picked a Glock 26 and a lightsaber. Like, get the fuck out of town.
Obi-Wan
not
would
what you
be
picked?
Banff.
No,
I-
man.
it's-
Like, I'm not picking either one of those things.
Yeah,
Like,
but
Well,
he's
and
fast
here's
enough
the
to
thing.
do bullets. Like, he blocked bullets
He
and
has
stuff.
a
Like, so made
particular-
it good.
He had a particular set of skills, right? At least in Gun-Gale, they like paid homage to the fact that he's from a fantasy sword fighting game. Like
Yeah.
that's his whole shtick.
well,
and
and
so
like his
he
stats
gets-
and stuff transferred over.
Yeah. As compared to Alfheim, where he just got to walk in and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna master this game too. That'll be cool."
Yeah.
And then just does it. Like he's the best player in the whole freaking game out of nowhere, and it
No,
just
there's like
bothered
a
me. Like
30-second training arc inside
Yeah.
Alfheim.
And a lot of these movies I'm looking at about halfway through the list. You have Mobile Suit Gundam. Ooh, I don't know how to say this. Kukuru's Doan's Island.
What?
Which apparently is very highly rated, got great scores, and when you start dealing with Mobile Suit Gundam and a lot of
Never
these
heard of it.
military-style animes, a lot of the movies end up just being, here's a special mission that they went on, like, here you go, here's your characters, and they do their own thing.
That. That's great. Like, that's
And
fine.
I can live with that. It's
Endless
effectively
Waltz.
like, oh, yeah.
Such a good one.
Yeah, Endless Waltz is solid. And so there's a lot of good ones on the list that I think kind of bring
Did
up
Death Note
into-
have a movie?
Oh, yeah. It's not on the top 100 list, but I think the Death Note movie was okay. I don't have any
Oh,
problem with it.
Bones, what's your favorite? What was your favorite anime movie? Let her rip, man. I want to know.
Yeah. And
It's
so
gonna be
what we wait.
something none of us have watched.
Oh, yeah,
but
something
we
super
probably
niche.
should. Like, yeah. I have yet to like check out any of the recommendations he's made that have been bad. Like every time he's like, you should check this out.
Yeah, I have to admit, like, so everybody has those friends, right? When you're dealing with movies or anime or TV
Wow.
shows.
Take that, only
that-
fan.
Um,
What?
Akira.
Akira.
oh yeah. So
That's
Akira, I
solid.
actually just
That's a solid
looked at. That's
choice.
a great one.
I
so
have seen
one's-
that one.
That one's 1988 and is fantastic.
And getting remade.
Yeah,
But
it's getting a remake.
everybody's got those friends and they fall into the camps, right? You have one friend that you use as kind of like keep you up to date, or maybe you are the friend where it's keep your friends up to date on the stuff that's coming out and things to look out for. And then I have certain friends that if they recommend something to me, it's few and far between, but when they do, it is always gold, right? It's always amazing. It was always selected specifically to appeal to my tastes or my personality or whatever. And then we have certain friends that every time they recommend something, I kindly put my desire to watch that away and move on with my life.
I really try
But-
to keep Ryan on his toes because I'll pick something I know Ryan will like, but I'm also
Get him
going
to
sandwich
trust
it.
you.
Yeah, I'm going to sandwich
yeah.
it between stuff that's just been absolutely atrocious. And I'm like, this is awful. And I feel bad that I'm the only one that's watched it. And then I'll hand it to Ryan, and he'll be like, why did you recommend this to me?
Yeah,
This is
what is
terrible.
this
I'm like,
soup
oh, I'm sorry.
sandwich?
Please try this. And he was like, I really liked that. And then I will immediately come back after that and just be like, here. It's like the reaching into the like pot of the every flavored jelly beans. And
Yeah.
it's just like, ooh, like cherries, grass, booger. Oh, strawberries. Like, and that's what I do to Ryan. I'm like, here's something nice. And he's like, oh, thanks.
No, and that's fact. And in truth, when we're dealing with this kind of topic, and I know we're getting close to the end of the episode, I think that's why Ghibli and a lot of those style things that they put out contained experiences kind of fall into my favorite, right? Because
That's true, Bones. Your tastes are not for the meek. That is correct.
yeah,
The weak-willed
Oh.
need not apply.
you're going to get a different experience watching Grave of the Fireflies versus Spirited Away versus Ponyo, versus Kiki's Delivery Service. These all feel very, very different, but in a familiar animation style and in a familiar way. So it creates a very safe kind of environment, right? Like you know what you're getting into without knowing what's going on, knowing what you're getting into. And I think that's the problem that a lot of these other ones have, like the My Hero Academia and similar movies, where you're making a movie based off of a fan-beloved anime, is that the reason people go to see those movies is too diverse. And so you are going to hit that canyon. I'll get the words out eventually. Of, I don't know anything about the show, so I'm not going to go see the movie. And the people that did go see the movie were super fans of the show and didn't like what they experienced, so it just gets review bombed. We did a whole episode segment on review bombing and bias in regards to things like critics and reviews. And I think that that's a really dangerous road to walk on for a lot of these studios.
Yeah. One studio we forgot to mention when we were talking about studios I want to bring up now is, I think it's Gemba is how it's pronounced, Gemba. I don't think we brought that one up. They did Berserk.
There you go.
For our fans
okay.
of more adult-style animation and very dark stories, if you liked Attack on Titan, you're probably going to like Berserk. That is a...
Berserk's a whole different kind of experience.
Oh man, that's a rough one to get through. Like this, that definitely comes with some warning labels on the front of those.
Yeah.
But that's one of the few that I have both read and watched and checked out the movies. And every time they do a remake of the animation, I'm like, I'm going to go back to this story. But
I think that's
man alive, is it not happy? Like there is not a pleasant situation that arises out of that entire series. So if I ever feel like just making myself sad, I watch Berserk again.
Actually, on the subject of Berserk making you sad and being very, very heavy, Clark, you're kind of our resident isekai expert. Are there any good isekai movies?
Like standalone?
Sure.
It's just in general.
Would you recommend a single isekai movie to anyone? If it's bad, make sure you recommend it to Eric.
What'd I do?
I mean, like...
It's not
No? Now that I think about it. But I only really like the Studio Ghibli movies, and...
they have to be the king of the standalone movie is Studio Ghibli. Like they
I can't...
I really...
Slime got one, and is okay, but not canon.
Aggressively medium.
Yeah, there's a bunch of mid ones, but I don't think you could do an isekai in a movie. I think it would be... There's too much, because then you'd have to explain them transitioning to a new world.
What's happened? You have to explain the new world. You have to explain their power. That's a lot to condense into a movie.
They'd have to... Yeah. I think it's just too much for a movie.
It's just a 2-hour montage.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour training arc.
2-hour training montage. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to take this... I'm going to take this opportunity. We're getting close to the end of the episode here. If you have listened this long, we appreciate it. We love you, and we really want to encourage you.
Word.
That was really impressive.
I
love our fans.
Viewers. All right.
I love our fans, and I love the people that like, comment, and share.
Nobody's gonna like, comment, and share now.
Ryan's like, I also love standing outside your window and breathing heavy.
Yeah. No, see, I only do that in order to encourage them to like, comment, and share. It's the ones that don't.
He's just playing Faded Love.
Don't hurt me no more.
No more.
What is love?
Yeah, guys. We love coming to you every week. He
just can't stop. He can't stop saying it.
I was trying to think of the most cringe way to go down that road, and I couldn't land on it. But I do want to encourage everybody to give us some interaction. We want to hear from you. And in particular, we're coming up on the February special. We haven't revealed exactly what that's going to be yet.
We haven't decided.
Because we haven't decided. And so we want to hear from you guys. If there's a particular topic that you would like to see extended episodes on or multi-episodes on that is happening in the Nerdverse, be sure and let us know. Hit us up on Facebook or in the YouTube comment section so that we can get your feedback and we can use that for future episodes.
And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We have been crossing the Nerdverse. Don't forget to keep an eye on our YouTube channel where I'll be giving us a breakdown of the Royal Rumble. It is, in fact, this Saturday, so I'll give you guys a quick shakedown on everything that happened because I plan on tuning in. And we will catch you next time. See ya.
See you guys.
Use.
Boost.
Boost.